Hello everyone, today I want to tell you about one problem students face as they move from their IGCSE to their A-level. Now, if you just compare the textbook of IGCSE to that of A-level, you'll find that there are more or less the same in terms of the number of pages. However, your A-level requires far more understanding than your IGCSE. There are far more advanced concepts that you would require to spend more time here than what you did in IGCSE. That's why I always tell my students to be realistic with their targets, especially if you're doing the Edexcel specification. Divide the units over several exam sessions so that you would divide your efforts and not to do too many exams in one session. Also aim to study by your own. The more you solve, check your mistakes, and ask your teacher, the more you'll advance in your knowledge. Print out the specification. I always do this to my students. I make that specification into a checklist. The students check their progress and make sure that they've covered all these details in the specification. Also, you're probably used to score much higher grades in IGCSE than A-level. The lower grades doesn't mean that you're doing bad. It's just like you can learn from those mistakes. Plus, the curve in A-levels is always lower than that of IGCSE. So that 50 or 60% is not a really very bad grade. Just aim to avoid the mistakes that you're doing in the homework, the quiz, the test. Once you learn a new topic, aim to go in this order. So if your teacher provides you with a recording, watch the recording of the lesson, because there are always many details the teacher has probably said and you've missed. Another thing is that you need to go over the notes. Try to have a list of those keywords that you have in the lesson. I usually write those keywords in a different color so that the students will learn them. That will help them to start solve many exam questions. Also mark your answers. It's not such a waste of time if we just write the answers and don't check your answers. The mark scheme is a very good learning source. There are many details that you need to check in the mark scheme. Those would help you not only to answer this specific question, it would help you to answer questions that are similar that you might be asked about in the actual exam. My last advice here is not to rely much on the knowledge in the textbook or your notes, because those would only help you to score 30 to 40 marks in your exam. A lot of questions are application questions, meaning that they would give you scenario or data that you're not really familiar with, and you need to apply your knowledge on these scenarios or graphs or data. So aim to solve as many questions as possible. Divide your time, like 30% of the time you spend should be just for notes, and 70% of the time is solving exam questions.